get the hell away from the place of security and go out there into the world and found a people. And don't assume that you get to go from the place of security to the promised land without the intervening catastrophe of life, right? And it's an echoing of what God tells Adam after he kicks him out of the Garden of Eden, essentially, you know, that life's going to be difficult. And so Abraham goes out, he listens to God. It's not like good things happen. It's like terrible things happen right away. And I think, well, that's really useful to know because, you know,
be dragons.
Yes, exactly. Well, you know, when you might say that in the Freudian sense, if religion is nothing but a wish fulfillment, then the religious injunction would be something like, well, you know, follow God and everything will turn out all right. Well, no one believes that because it just doesn't happen that way. And this is much more realistic. It's like, well, your final destiny, it's necessary to undergo this process of emergence out into the world and the founding of a people, which is to find a mate and to reproduce and all of that and to do that in a proper manner. It's a call to adventure, but it's real grappling with the world at the same time. The fact that God is there with you, so to speak, doesn't mean that you're going to have a charmed life. And people find that very realistic because they don't have charmed lives. And so it's uplifting to them. And it's uplifting for them to know that even those people who were chosen by God in the narrative still are ground up by the world in every possible way, in even more extreme ways maybe than modern people are.
I suppose the visceral reality of that, the degree to which that reflects our actual lived experience, is sort of the inverse of why people find cults as opposed to religions a little bit creepy, in the sense that the flavor of a cult often, I think, is that, you know, everything is great.
Right.
If you drink our Kool-Aid, everything is already perfect.
Exactly.
Which doesn't really resonate with people outside of that state of mind. It doesn't really resonate with the reality of lived human experience.
No, that's exactly right.
So the conflation of religion with cult, I think, which often emerges in the New Atheist movement, right? I think misses that particular point.
Yeah, I think it does too. I mean, you know, there's the opiate of the masses argument and the wish fulfillment argument with regards to religion. You know, Dawkins goes on the Freudian line more than the Marxian line. He thinks that, well, it's what, primitive, self-satisfying superstition. Well, then why are the stories constructed that way? They're not follow God and everything will be all right. That isn't how it works.
It's not one long lullaby.
It's not that at all. It's real catastrophes, major catastrophes of all sorts continually, but with this underlying notion that if you stay on the proper path, or at least try to stay on the proper path even, you don't actually have to be on it, you just have to try, that's your best bet. And so, like with the hero mythology, all of which these are examples of, you might say, well, is that's the solution to life's problems, is to take the path of the hero? And the answer to that is no. It's just your best bet. Because it isn't obvious that such a thing as the ultimate solution to life's problems exists. There's arbitrariness in the world and randomness and all of those things. But given all that, what's your best strategy? And one strategy is, well, and this is partly how I make these stories practical, is like, accept the tragedy of your destiny and move forward consciously and voluntarily nonetheless. And part of the reason that the audience is packed with men is because men really like that story. They really and need it. That's what men need to do.